Hello, and thank you for the consideration for this fellowship opportunity. I will go ahead and get started. So, my name is Mackenzie Skelski. I currently teach sixth grade at the Comstock STEM Academy in Comstock, Michigan. I teach the subjects of English, science, and robotics this year. Um, and prior, I usually teach fifth grade, so science always, robotics, and some engineering, some programming, computer programming, and 3D printing, things like that. So, but I can also do English and social studies, no problem. So, anyway, so why at this time in my teaching career am I interested in participating in this fellowship program? My first response in my head was, why not? I haven't ever done anything like this before. So, um, and personally, like I just have not found a master's program that suits my needs. I found one at U of M that I would like to do, but otherwise, I don't want a degree that's going to get me out of the classroom. I want a degree that's going to strengthen my skills in the classroom. So I'm looking. I just have not found one that really suits what I would like to do. But in the meantime, I just keep learning and going to conferences, and um, so that's my answer. Why not? Two, describe one success or work that I am very proud of from my classroom last year. I would say the resiliency of everyone and instilling a love of learning as my number one thing. I don't care if you love math over everything else. I'm going to celebrate that with you and encourage you to continue doing well in math. If it's writing, I want to do the same thing and celebrate those successes. The teacher I taught with last year, her and I were just really dynamic, and but she was the math teacher and I was the science teacher in that kind of cliche way. And she would always tell the students, you can do math without science, but you can't do um, science without math. And so that was always her little buy-in to get more kids to do more math with her. But um, so it's a funny back and forth that we have, and it has made me ponder a little bit more than I probably should have. But I think that's my biggest success is just encouraging kids to love what they do and make them feel proud of the work that they've accomplished, and to instill that love of learning, especially during a time like this where resiliency is kind of required at this time. So um, that has shown through while we're still virtual at this time. That resiliency of loving learning, whether it's something different or going out and taking photos instead of doing it together in the classroom, they're finding ways to still partake in that lesson. So instilling the love of learning would be my answer for number two, um, which I do too with them. I mentor interns from our local college, Western Michigan University, and they all have gone on to teach at various districts around the area, and they're happy with what they've done. So it's social studies or it's science or English. So they love what they're doing. And I do science Olympiad. So those kids had a kind of a shutdown season last year too. So anyway, they are they're all resilient. Third one says, describe one challenge or work in your problem in your work. We're very fortunate to be part of the MySTEM network. And I know Chris attends the meetings and is pretty active as much as he can. So we do a lot of opportunities with grants, with competitions with our kids. And so we are very fortunate in that regard to be supported by those funds, as well as with our local. We have Stryker and Pfizer that we reach out to, and they are in connection with our eighth grade biomedical science teacher. So we are very fortunate in the monetary aspect, even though our district budget continues to dwindle. We are finding ways to supplement that in order to get like especially the renewable things that we need or the disposable things that we need to replenish, more so than not. No reusing gloves this year. Not that that should ever be done, but just you know, trying to make sure we're being extra safe when the kids do arrive back in our classrooms. For me personally, I was able to share the lab space originally, and then now I don't. So I am in a carpeted classroom with minimal storage. I have two cabinets, but I make do with what I got. But most of the time, my science stuff is all all over the place, and I try to keep it sectioned, but it tends to kind of fall out. So that is a challenge for me. Access to water is another big challenge. I am across from the janitor's closet, but it's not always the water I need. So I have to go to drinking fountain for more temperature controlled water. And it's not always very feasible, but we do have some solutions to that. And then disposing of the water, I am fortunate that I have no screens in my windows. My windows are single pane, so I can just open them up and just dispose of the water right out my classroom window. But so I guess those are challenges, but they're not unworkable challenges. Four, we have, oh, I'm sorry. It says, describe how you plan to share what you learn as a fellow with other educators. I mean, just getting them involved in the experience is kind of how I guess I would inspire other teachers unknowingly. I just kind of did science the way I wanted to do science, with activities and hands-on and small groups. And, people would look at me like, you're crazy. Why are you doing this? And you can't give kids access to Play-Doh and mud and tubs. It's going to get all over. And my response was, yep, but they'll learn to pick it up, or nope, because they're going to follow protocol and they'll know how to do it. Like, it's just, don't be afraid to try to get your hands dirty. And if that's the motto that we teach them, then I don't know how we're going to solve some of our bigger problems in the world. So I think just getting them involved in that process and showing them like the risks are worth the reward. And at the end of the day, like the old saying goes, no one cries over spilt milk. In our household, we find different ways to pick up that spilled milk. Like, my kid just spilled yogurt outside and freaked out. And I was like, doesn't matter. What can you use to pick it up? And, so we just go through that process of finding a problem and looking at it and assessing it and figuring out what we can do about it. And so for them, especially the traditional ones, are maybe more resistant with all their do right. But once you include them in on that process and they get to share with families, like, oh, we just made these gingerbread houses and we measured the area of them, they're the parents of those kids are like, what? And the teacher is able to be a part of that. And it's not just you did this fun thing, but you did this thing that had meaning behind it. And maybe the kids don't remember when they were in first grade, but the ones that were in eighth grade that helped them absolutely will remember that, and the math behind it and why they use that math. And maybe they go on to become, packaging engineers. And, it's just one activity, one lesson can set forth a change in a person. And for other educators, it's just getting them to be part of that. It's fun, let them be part of it. I think those are the 4 questions. So I just want to make sure I said thank you again for your consideration. And I hope that it goes well with whoever is in the group. And yeah, thank you very much.